3 general managers vacancies. They'll be down to 2 tomorrow when Jim Benning is formally announced as the general manager of the Vancouver Canucks. And guy you have to have a soft spot for as a player, an 18-year-old that might as well landed on Mars here in Toronto.
We were all there when he came.
He just
on the scene.
Wore his Portland Winter Hawk leather jacket. Watched the Toronto Marlies practice. Although I always remember that he was a student of the game as an 18-year-old. Would stay and watch the junior team practice, and so really happy for him. A quality character guy who's walked the walk as a kid, but also people forget that in Buffalo, he and Terry Martin, Don Luce, that scouting staff was second to nobody. What they drafted, then they all got burnt the last lockout. They got rid of all their scouts, but he did a great job there and a great job in Boston. Nice to see him get the opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm amazed at how many, maybe not so much as general manager, how many former players have become general managers, but presidents now or former players. You're thinking, you go back to when you played and you're thinking, our whole life was around a schedule. Somebody would tell us what to do with your money, when to get on the bus, when practice was. You're thinking, and you see guys like Doug Gilmour in junior hockey, Dale Howard-Chuck, guys that are still involved, and you're thinking, when did this change? It had to be somewhere in the 90s where guys said, we want to hang around a little more. We want to be a part of this game, and it just seems to be a lot more prevalent now than it's ever been, where you've got former players moving up the management chain. And Dale Talon was a great example as well, to go from playing to broadcasting to general manager of 2 NHL teams.
And what's nice about the Benning hiring is that this is a guy that's worked hard at it. And it's not just
Absolutely.
a guy who just came out of the woodwork and got it, through a favor or anything like that. This is a guy who's put in a lot of years with Buffalo, a lot of years with Boston, as well as a scout and an assistant general manager, has paid his dues and worked really hard for it, and finally being rewarded, which is nice to see.
But is he going into a good spot? Or is this, you can arguably say whoever gets the Pittsburgh job is going into a pretty good, there's
You
going to
think
be
so?
price. Yeah.
Well, they're expected to win a Stanley Cup in Pittsburgh. That's not necessarily
No, absolutely.
yeah.
But you're not rebuilding either. You're not going into a team where you've got to rely on the 3 to 5 year plan with draft picks and everything else. I don't know where Vancouver is. There was talk about dismantling.
They're somewhere in the middle, aren't they?
Yeah. And I don't know whether Jim Benning goes in and they say, all right, blow it up. If you can move guys and we'll get draft picks and we'll start all over, or you say add to it and let's see if we can go on a run. And I don't know whether that includes Ryan Miller. I don't know whether it'll be interesting to see July 1st. Is Kessler going to be back next year? A lot of talk about him moving before the deadline last year. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what direction he wants to take this team in and what ownership says about it.
Well, the Sedins are two good benchmarks that won't be blown up that you will have. And you think, it's funny, Jim was traded from the Toronto Maple Leafs along with Danny Hodson to Vancouver in 1986 for Rick Lance in talk about a run-of-the-mill trade that probably got a little agate in the newspaper. So tomorrow,
did you make that one?
He'll be front and center. I was assistant GM. I assisted on the deal. Okay, which is like assisting on I don't know what. But what you mentioned other guys, Trevor Linden, Brendan Shanahan named presidents of the respective Vancouver, Toronto organizations in the same week. That's, I think, is going to be the biggest thing for Jim. Jim's not a guy that loves the microphone or that Trevor will be the face that way, and Jim can go about being really like the head of scouting and personnel and focus on that. The other distractions quite often are what's difficult for the guys to handle everything. He can be like Ken Holland is a bit in Detroit in the best case scenario.